there are a number of times in life when you just like stumble across something. You know, imagine you're sort of walking downtown, do a bit of shopping. It's a lovely day today. You look at the floor. Ah, there's a £20 note. Way! I'm going to buy myself some steak tonight now. And this is like the same kind of thing, which I'm going to show you in this next game. I was trying to find some games with the theme of mad kings, insane in the membrane. I would have put that song up, but I get sued by Cypress Hill. But you get the idea. Insane king games, king marches, kings that lose their head. And when I was trying to find some games, I stumbled across this next quite astonishing encounter. And I thought I had to do a video on it. Now, it's not one of my own games, but it's something really just to sit back and enjoy. It's amazingly complicated. It's completely, can I say, cuckoo. A little bit cuckoo. There we go. I prepared that just for you. It's just, it's mad. We say in England cuckoo to mean a bit mad. And it's. I just have to show it to you. That's all I can say about this game. So let's dive in. Well, I should give you some background. What I believe the game. It's basically played between two players I haven't heard of. Christopher van der Loo and M. Hesseling. And apparently, you know, when I stumbled across this on my database, it was played in a weekend competition in Holland in 1983. Now, if anyone knows either of these players and they can get me in touch with them, I will send them a free DVD. No doubt about it. They both deserve it after this encounter. So what on earth am I talking about? Let's dive in. And you're in for a treat here. Now, it started with e4. And we had one of the craziest gambits in the world of gambits. After the opening moves, well, normal Spanish. And now bishop c4. So this is one of the main moves, as well as bishop b5. And now knight to f6. And here, the main move in the position, well, one of the moves favoured by Bobby Fischer, actually. Knight to g5. Already aiming to crash down on f7. The so-called fried liver attack. God knows where that name came from. And now, to get the game heated up from an early stage, black plays bishop c5. And this offers the pawn on f7. And this is a very dangerous and entertaining, fun gambit called the Traxler Gambit. And this was named after a player from the Czech Republic, born in 1866, Traxler. God, I'm giving you a history lesson as well here. And here is Mr. Traxler. And by the looks of things, he might have had something to do with religion there. Is that a dog collar maybe? Maybe God gave him this opening. Maybe God gave us this opening. God said, here you go, guys, have some fun with this craziness. And it's a crazy opening. Now, the most critical line is knight takes f7. And it looks like this should be winning because you're forking the queen and rook immediately and you're winning a pawn. But the whole point behind black's play, and this is where the fun starts, is bishop takes f2 check. Black sacrifices more material to ooze the white king out into the open. So king takes f2 and now knight takes e4 check. And here the most critical line is the line that white play, king e3. This is the greedy line. Donald Trump would be happy with this capitalist way of playing the position. Eat everything. I'm going to be a millionaire. And the idea is to simply threaten as many pieces as you can. Now, black has two moves here. And queen h4 is more commonly seen, diving bravely forwards. But in this game, black played queen e7 with some ideas of diving to c5. Now, the point is, if white now takes on h8, black attempts to get counterplay with the theoretic move d5. And this opens up the bishop, gets the queen in, and the king on e3 is exposed. Should be locked up for that exposure there. So that is the idea. But instead of taking on h8, white played c3. And now black played a crazy move. Probably, I don't know what should be played here, but at the time, apparently this was all theory. And one of the reasons I wanted to show you this game was what happened on move 19. And I'll let you know when we get to move 19. Because at the time, white played a move on move 19 that was apparently a novelty. And it was described by Soltis, who was a brilliant writer at the time, as the most stunning theoretical novelty on chess history, in the chess ever to be played. So in the universe that we know of. And this is one reason I want to show you this game. So what happens here? Knight d4 anyway. And this poor move was aiming to stop this move, but black bravely throws his knight into the mix anyway. And here, white obviously has a choice of taking a number of pieces here. What should he take? In the game, he played king takes e4. Now, had he played pawn takes d4, we're going to see black's idea. Black would have taken on d4 with check, and now the queen has opened up. Where does the king go to? If the king ever moves to d3, there's always a knight to f2 check. And if the king takes on d4, black's idea here is c5 check. And again, if the king goes back, we win the queen. And if the king goes to d5, well, look at it. It's basically a lunatic king, that one. Knight f6 is a checkmate. So there's plenty of beautiful checkmate ideas like this throughout the game. It is mind-blowing, this game. I mean, it's confused the hell out of me. I've no idea what's happening. So it is kind of one of those games where you just got to enjoy. But watch this king. This king is like a hero. It is such a hero piece. So king takes e4 was played instead. And now queen to h4 check. Of course, continuing the action. And now the king has to decide where it's going to go. Where does this king move to? Now, it has to be quite careful actually here. It's in a bit of a dangerous situation. I mean, it has a couple of options. You would have thought around this point here that the king should start retreating, would you not? I mean, king to e3 would be the move of a sensible man. And that's indeed what white does. Because you can't go forwards. You can't go forwards anymore. And if you go to d3, well, you're going to run into d5 and a bishop's f5 check. So king e3 makes the most sense here. And after this move, black now play queen f4 check, king d3. And here, actually, black can force a draw with queen f5 check and queen f4 check. But that is certainly not in the spirit of this crazily Traxler Gambit. I really hope that one day I get this Gambit with either side, because it's just like, whoa. Okay, so in the game it continued. After check, king d3, d5. So good on black for playing for the win, trying to get the bishop into the game. And bishop f5 is indeed a big threat. Checkmate, that would be. So, you know, for example, knight takes rook, bishop f5, checkmate. Just shows you some of the dangers here in the position for white. So in this position now, white made his king a escape square on c4. Bishop takes d5 and grabs some more material. Bishop f5 check, king c4. And now what's more natural than b5 check? I would play this move as well, because the king only has one square to go to. Now, it has to go to c5. If it goes to the alternative b4, there is a forced checkmate here. Now, can you see the checkmate yourself? And I'm going to tell you at times to pause the video, see if you can work out some of these checkmates. This is a good tactics exercise for you as well. So it's checkmate now. I don't know, but I'll give you a clue. The queen will checkmate on b4. And try to work out how that is possible in most variations anyway. After, well, a5 check, and now king a3. The queen will checkmate on b4. So pause the video now if you want to work out how. It should be quite easy in most variations. Well, here you go, b4 check. And again, crazy lines. If the king goes to a4, bishop d7 will lead to checkmate. And the other option is if white takes on b4. Do you see the checkmate now? Well, now all we have to do is get our knight out of the way, so we can either go knight b5 or knight c2 check, either one, and then queen takes b4 checkmate. I mean, there's a lot to follow here, I know that, so I'm going to do my best at analysing this. So in the game, king c5 was played. Probably one of the most craziest games of chess I've ever seen. This is why I had to share it with you, because a lot of people say my games are crazy, but I seem like Ulf Anderson, a rock, compared to the players in this game. You know, I seem boring. I seem incredibly boring compared to these loonies. These two need to be put into a psychic reactor unit immediately. And here, black now plays the best move, queen h4. Why is this the best move? Because the queen needs to get back around to cause some mischief to the king. The white knight now takes on e5, trying to free up some squares for the king. And here, black castles. Of course, bringing his rook into the attack. And apparently this had all been played before. Crazy. And there is a threat now of rook takes bishop, leading to checkmate. So this is black's idea. For example, if white takes the knight with a pawn, what can be more natural than that? Rook takes bishop check. And now if the king tries to run to b4, well, queen takes d4 check, and there will be a mate occurring on a4 next move. So here, it's forced in this position after the check to take on d5, and now rook d8 check will lead to mate. For example, king c5, queen takes d4 check, king takes pawn, rook d5 check, king a6, and mate. Queen b6 mate. Whew. Deep breath, Simon. So that was the threat. So in the position after castles, white came up with a good move, c4. And this move guards the bishop against that threat. And here black played an error actually. A good move here would have been queen f6, trying to get the queen sneakily around to the b6 square. But instead, rook takes d5 check looks very tempting. At the time, theory recommended this move. With the same idea as before, if king takes rook, we bring our other piece in and we deliver checkmate. Remember, well, for example, let's show that. So king takes rook, rook d8 check. The king has to go to c5. And now we see why the queen's come to h4. It has queen here check. Only one move. King can't go to c6. Even I'm getting confused here. It's checkmate, actually. Whoa! Big check. So there's only one move here, and that is pawn takes rook. And now rook to d8 played. And now white develops a piece. What can be more natural than knight c3? And in this position, black played an amazingly looking move. And this is where it gets even more fascinating, this game. I mean, I was wondering if this game was a setup, because obviously I hadn't met the players, but it has been, has been written down that it was played in a weekend competition in Holland, and it was a proper game. So I'm going to go along with it's a proper game. I want to believe, as Fox Mulder would say, I want to believe. And here, now, the best move is, in actual fact, a6 here, but only a computer found this. I run it on the computer afterwards. Black instead played the incredibly pretty move knight to c6. What the hell, you may be thinking? Well, the idea of this move is to try to bring the queen across in a lot of positions to checkmate. For example, now if knight takes c6, queen to c4 shows one of black's ideas. And this knight on c6 is very poisoned. I mean, what about d takes c6? Black can force checkmate now. Again, I believe he forces checkmate. Let me just work this out myself. On b4, is it? Well, pause the video. We'll play it along now. Pause it if you want to work it out yourself here. Black to play and mate. We go queen d4 check. King takes b5. Queen b6 check. And now it's b4, yes. Because now our rook comes in check. And next move, queen to b4 is checkmate. Insane. So that's another way that white can't take the knight on c6. So what about the third way that he can take the knight? What about king takes c6? Well, here black has a very powerful slow move, queen b4. And this stops the king retreating to c5 or b5. And next move, black will play a move like rook d6 checkmate. So this is the position that apparently had been seen before in a game. And now white played the novelty, one of the most amazing novelties in the history of chess. And this position is insane. In actual fact, when I run this position now, and we are going forwards, obviously, how many years? Well, I don't know, like 20, 30 years to when the game's played. The computer finds an even better novelty in this position. I'm going to share the novelty that the computer... oh my god, Hikaru Nakamura has just challenged me to a game of chess. Go away, Hikaru. Can I screen capture that? It's my only time. I'm going to screen capture this. My only time when I'm going to turn... Oh, he's gone now. It's my only time when I'm going to turn down Hikaru for a game of chess because I'm enjoying myself looking at this game. Sorry, Hikaru, another day, hey? It's like turning the Queen of England down. Okay, anyway, the point of this position is... He just wants to get some easy rating points. Is that after white has an amazing move now, and the computer recommends Queen G4. Simply stunning move. What the hell, you may be thinking, is this move? Well, the point is, in a lot of variations, you want to force black to take on G4 with a bishop. So, for example, bishop takes G4, so you've given up a whole queen, and now the amazing point, this distraction move, you can now take on C6 with a piece, the knight. Knight takes C6. And because the bishop is now on G4, black can't play Queen C4 checkmate. And white is actually doing very well here. White's a lot better here because you have knight takes B5 coming and the king is actually quite safe now. And unbelievable tactic there. So that is the idea of this Queen G4 move. Absolutely astonishing novelty from the computer. But in the game, white played a similar novelty. Crazy novelty. And the move that he played in the game, Queen A4. Putting the queen en prise to a pawn. And this is what Soltis has described as the most amazing novelty in the history of chess. And I have to say, it certainly is up there. Now, you could analyse with the computer, but, I mean... let's not bother because it's just too much. And the point again is to try to make black take the queen. So you give up your queen so you can take on c6 with your knight. This is the important idea. And again, because the black pawn in this case has been distracted, there's no longer a Queen c4 checkmate. So I really like this game because of this position, because of the two moves, Queen g4 and Queen a4, which are the only ways the computer gives that black that white doesn't lose. And this is an amazing tactical idea in what is actually a very possible sequence of events if you're just out of the mental home. So Queen a4, and here the game continued. Not pawn takes that because knight takes c6 would have been quite strong. Instead, black continues the attack. Queen e7 check. King takes b5. And now black should have gone knight takes knight, but so easy to go wrong here, of course. And this is one reason I think this game might have been real, because they didn't play perfect moves. There's a lot of mistakes in positions which weren't so critical. And here, Queen c4. And just watch this white king now. Knight d4 check. And the king tries to now run away because white is a whole rook up. Bishop d7 check. And now white realised the only way he's going to try to win this game is by going forwards. Because if he goes to b4 or to b3, then it's perpetual check. Black can play knight c2 check, knight d4 check, knight c2 check, knight d4 check. Perpetual. Have a look at that yourself. Pause the video if you want to. The only way white can win is by bravely going forwards. And now white has to face knight c6 check. So again, if white wants to play for a win, he has to bravely go forwards. Because if he goes king a4, then knight d4 check. It's a draw again. And a draw would spoil this piece of art we are witnessing. So king a6. And now knight to b8 check. And again, if the king goes backwards, knight c6 check is a draw. So you have to take on a7. But actually, this should be losing. Black now played c6, threatening queen c7 mate. Instead, he should have simply played queen d6, and this would have led to mate, with queen b6 and queen b7. But somehow White survived, and you have to say White probably deserved to win this game after his amazing Queen A4 trick. And after C6, he now had Knight B5, controlling the C7 square. And the game's not over yet. I will go through the rest of the moves quite quickly, because there's still some fascinating moments. Bishop F5, and now D4. A good move. If White can get the bishop to help him out in his defence, he'll be doing well. And luckily this knight is pinned to the king by the pawn. And now Rook D7 check. Of course, touchdown! King A8. There we go. Queen E7. And now pawn takes C6. And amazingly here, the white king is actually quite safe, because the pawn guards it a little bit. The knight on B5 guards the A7 square. And in actual fact, this king is reasonably safe here. Bishop E4. And now White goes crazy here. There's other ways to do it, but White wants to sacrifice now. He wants to give up his queen, so he goes D5 with a particular idea in mind. He wants to get his knight to A7 and start an attack. He can't play his knight to A7 at the moment because it'd be rook takes A7 checkmate. So he has to distract the black rook away from the second rank. And he does this by giving up his queen. Of course, he wants some gold coins thrown on the board. Rook takes D5, knight A7 check. And now king to D8. And here, White should have now played bishop to F4. And I think this was surely his idea. And if he could get bishop F4 and bishop to B8, imagine that position. The king is safe. Unbelievable. Instead, he plays king takes B8. And this is one of the big mistakes in the game here. Because in actual fact now, after king takes B8, black could have played queen to B4 check. But of course, these are the missed opportunities. And after king A8, he could have played king C7. And here we find out the white king is not so safe. If you check on F4, the queen takes it this time. And the black king is safe. So this was black's missed opportunity. But the game had a very funny finish. It went queen C7 check, so logical. King A8. But now the king can't be checked. It's really weird. The knight defends everything. The knight defends C6. It defends C8 check. Incredibly safe king. And after this, again, it's winning. Rook A5 must have been what black was relying on, because he's threatening 3 checkmates. He's threatening rook A7 checkmate. He's threatening queen A7 checkmate. Can you see the third checkmate? Queen to C8 checkmate. But white has an amazing resource here. What is the resource? Over to you. And how is white going to win this game? Pause the video now if you want to try to work it out. Bishop to G5 check. Whoa! And now the white rooks can come to D1 and E1. Fantastic idea. For example, here, the game now finished. Rook takes G5. Rook to D1 check. And if the black king ever comes to the 7th rank, it's going to be terminal, because there's a rook D7 check. So you have to go king E8. And now rook to E1 check. And now, of course, king F8 forced. But a rook comes into D7 anyway. And the game now finished. Queen takes H2. And the actual deciding point was the queenside pawns. Rook B7, because this pawn was pinned. And now white's simple idea here is C7, C8, winning the game. And the game finished. C7. And look at that for a nice little tactic there. Rook F7 check, more tactics. And the point is, you can't go C8 yet because of rook to C8. But now if the king takes the rook, we queen and it's check. Discovered check, ambush. Unbelievable tactics in this game. So instead of king takes this one, the king came back. And here white just went B4. I like this. Nice and calm. Here comes the B pawn. Barry is going to finish off the game. And so's Harry the A pawn. And they're too strong. Black tries to get Harry going, but in this case, Harry is too far behind. And Harry keeps rushing with H4. Barry comes. Harry comes. And now that white has control on the C6 square, he can now play knight to C6. And this is the winning move, because it blocks the rook's route to this square, and it threatens as well some ideas of rook E7 check let's say h2, for example, here. Well, h2 was played, and now, well, the quickest way to win here would have been rook e7 check and rook to b8 mate, but instead, white accordingly actually played rook takes g7, because I think he's going for the beauty prize of any game. And this is an amazing idea, because you threaten rook b8 checkmate, and if queen takes rook, we go there, rook or queen checkmate. Whew, what a game. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, just so many brilliant moments in that game. I had to just show you and try to analyse one of the most complex games I've ever come across into a video. That was my aim in this. Probably the most craziest game I've ever seen. Well, actually, I say that. In my next video, if you enjoyed that, I've got an even crazier game. So I was wondering, as they played this game in Amsterdam, were they maybe... I think I caught a picture of the two players just 5 minutes before playing this game. I think I caught a picture of them on the internet. Here they are. Here they are in the streets of Amsterdam, getting ready for their encounter and enjoying some of the local delights there. Well, I don't know. I mean, unbelievable game. I wanted to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed it. As much as I did. I certainly got a laugh from it. I wanted to share it with you anyway, because it was something quite special. So thanks for that. If you enjoyed that one, I've got maybe an even better game than that, but a similar game than that prepared for another video. But only if you enjoyed that one, I get a lot of hits for this. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and if someone again could post this up on Reddit, because I'm not really supposed to post my own things up there, if you think it's worth posting, of course. If not, then just bloody throw it away. And what have you done watching the whole video, you bloody fool? Don't watch a video you don't like. It's a simple thing. Goodbye for now. See you soon.